Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and today we're talking about some YouTube comments spam. Now ladies and gentlemen, you might be like, whoa, why are you talking about this one, Muda? Well, one post that I actually saw on our community Reddit, and also some issues that I've been seeing for the last couple weeks really, and a big part of tomorrow's video actually, had to be a little bit delayed, but yeah, it was one of these situations regarding YouTube comment section spam where he started to read actual messages like young Brian Hall, Susan Martin, Jessica. So you might be like, whoa, how do you notice this? Well, as somebody that likes to read the comments of my videos, and I think reading comments is important, one of the reasons why I think, channels really don't, succeed more than like a year or two at times is they don't actually read what their communities are writing. It's the best place for constructive criticism, and honest to God, if you don't read your comment section, what connection do you really have with the community? And that's why I prioritize reading the comments as much as I logically can. But for example, one video that I posted, Why Keffels is a Complete Fraud, 4 months ago, a video that went pretty popular, a main channel video that was, doing really well. One of the chains of comments that I started to see in the last several days, and this has been going on for a couple of weeks now, which is a little alarming, is these sets of random, usernames on YouTube posting in random names. Davis, Charles, Jones, Brenda, Clark, George, Lopez, Jason, Anderson, James, Martin, Brenda. So yeah, these random, the first, last names, just names in general are getting posted in. And if you open up some of these actual accounts here real quick, you'll notice that for the most part, these are just random no-name accounts that literally have been made about this year, okay? So there's one guy with 1 subscriber, then you go to this other channel with literally just 1 subscriber. All of this was made in August 30th, 2018. Literally just accounts taking up YouTube server space for no real fucking reason other than actually annoying people in comment sections. But then it started to get even weirder. For instance, this one account also posted a random address. So 545 blank 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 drive. So immediately opening up this account, it was literally just part of this 1 subscriber random bot account nonsense. So why is it that YouTube channels are suddenly posting full names and addresses in just comment sections? It's actually like some weird dead internet theory stuff again, because literally, if you look through this comment section, it's like a good chunk of it is human, but then there's like a good double-digit percentage of this comment section literally run by fucking robots doing nothing to actually help fuel engagement, good engagement to the video at hand. Now, I want to also start off by saying YouTube spam is not new, okay? Much like the fucking spam you see in your favorite MMO where people are just selling constant features, this has been around since the beginning of YouTube, okay? The beginning of this site. In fact, some of the earliest bits of actual spam were reasonably quite funny, okay? They were just like chain letters. So for instance, a random generic YouTuber or user would just post, in 1876, a young girl named Jen was walking down a river. An insane man killed her by stabbing her in the back and then hanging her in the closet. While he hanged her, he said, "Bukkake, bukkake. Now that you've read this message, she'll find you and her dead body will haunt your house for 5 years. Every night you go to sleep, she'll appear in your closet, hanging with her glowing red eyes." And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the simple explanation is just shut the fucking closet door and yeah, you'll be fine with your life. Now, did this actually happen in reality to people? I'm gonna bet every single testicle I have on me, and there's only 2, that this never happened to anybody, okay? All right, and if it did, then I'll cut them right off. But of course, that's not the only set of YouTube chain letters. There's plenty of others. There's a whole list of actual chain letters. Some of them are pretty wholesome. There are 20 angels in this world, 10 are sleeping, 9 are playing. 1 is reading this. Aww. In 1342, a man sacrificed his life in the name of true love. Before he was beheaded, he yelled, "Mon Halit, dear Mustafa." Now that you read these holy words, you have 8 hours to repost this on 3 different videos, and you and the love of your dreams will find each other within 8 days. And if you should fail, this offer will never be available again. If you believe in the Lord, then this will freak you out. Seriously, sign up for this free link, www.bigchurch.com. Yeah, don't be clicking on random spam links in any of these comment sections, okay? That's just a recipe for identity fraud right there, boys. And you never want that happening to you. So obviously the comment spam just exacerbated over a while. 2 years ago, there was literally issues in regards to actual large channels having to deal with people putting WhatsApp scam into their comment section. I had to face this for a while, where literally people would impersonate my channel logo, channel name, and just get people to join random WhatsApps. Now, if you had, I would believe, an actual amount of common sense, you probably wouldn't do that, okay? Especially if you watch a channel like mine where I tell you a lot about just fucking gross scams all the time. And, you know, here's the thing. It's really meant to just be out there. And literally, if 100,000 people witness these like pieces of spam comments, but only one interacts, it is economically worth it for these guys to do it. Spamming and just posting this kind of stuff on sites literally does not cause any financial, like, you know, problems for these people. It's just how it works. So to go back to those names, right? Why is it that we went from funny chain letters, okay, Bukaki, to first, last name, and addresses being posted? Is there something fucking sinister? Well, there's one YouTuber by the name of HG Modernism that actually discusses this in a quick 2-minute, 40-second long video where they talk about what their running theory is for this exact thing.
Because I live for this kind of stuff, and there's definitely something suspicious going on here. For one, both accounts are basically brand new with no information, but let's take a closer look. I automatically pulled it for review, where it has continued to sit for 5 hours. The second comment didn't have any words in my blocked list, so it was posted and then deleted about 15 minutes later. So you might reasonably ask yourself, why was the second posted comment deleted, but not the first? I tested this by making 2 comments with my other channel. Jessica is on the block list and Susan is not. When I go to the video page and my comment history, I can't actually see that one is not being shown. I had to look with a different account to see it's not there. But if the comment is missing from the comment section, it's a pretty obvious signal you found a word in the creator's block list.
Okay, so the explanation here is that the reason why names are being posted is because there's apparently a new wave of bots performing what is, I guess, in anybody's context, called a brute force attack to identify names that are in blocked history. So one thing I want to start off by saying, if you ever see a deleted comment on my channel and you're like, wow, Mood, are you censoring me? I have never in my entire YouTube history, from my knowledge, ever actually censored anybody on my channel, okay? If you ever have noticed that your channel comment section got deleted, it is 100% the actual like happenings of the YouTube auto moderation bot. So clearly YouTube is fighting moderation year after year, which is one of the reasons why when I talk about this, I am also in, like, you know, I understand YouTube's situation. As somebody that has dealt with software, understands how this stuff goes, it's not easy to constantly fight an army of spam bots that keep fighting with you to stay on the platform. So YouTube has an auto moderation filter, which, like, if you put in a link or you maybe have some string of characters that is identified as spam, YouTube might trip your comment as a false positive and effectively have you removed from that entire video on my channel, which is not me removing it. It's just somehow you managed to trip YouTube's like moderation bot and automatically got kicked out of it. Now, unless I go into the comment section myself, and sometimes I do, I can approve certain comments, but generally speaking, most creators don't go through an older video just to manually approve comments unless the situation is so alarmingly egregious, which thankfully over the last several years hasn't been a massive issue on YouTube. So what modernism is referring to in this case is obviously every YouTuber has this block list, and I think it's good practice to put your address, your full name, and other sensitive information in this list. There's a good chance that there are actual like fucking really unhinged people who, if you are the target of, would put your entire address, your personal information into that list. It's actually a practice that I've done since the creation of the deep web browsing series. For a while, there were a couple deep web websites that literally were all about just posting my personal information history. So whether I had pissed somebody off or somebody was trying to get a laugh out of the situation, I followed a pretty simple guide of A, not engaging with trolling behavior like that would just exacerbate and Streisand into something bigger. And also, instead of having somebody escalate from having a onion link page to just spamming my entire comment section with my personal address and my name, or family members or anything, I just decided to put all of that into the block list. And that's why I never really have to worry about the doxing that happens. So what modernism is saying is some of these bots who don't understand or know your full name are probably just using this spam to test for if a piece of actual personal information is belonging to that person, right? Like, for instance, if my name doesn't show up in the comment section, then the actual spammer just knows that my actual full name might be the blocked words. So there's a good simple defense to this, and we call that just stuffing random shit into the block list, just to throw off these kind of scammers, right? But that also trips another massive issue as well. And that issue, ladies and gentlemen, is the Scunthorpe problem, which means that sometimes if you have too much in your spam filter, you might unintentionally block online content just because you're containing strings or substrings of letters that appear obscene or in your block list. So what you're seeing over here is a domain address known as shitakimushrooms.com. And it should become pretty relatively understandable why this is a problem. So let's say you had the word shit completely removed from your concept of word filters and whatnot, right? Let's say that was a big filter. All of a sudden, this URL, which literally could be about a set of mushrooms, could be blocked just like pornography or really anything vulgar. So obviously, when you have such a heavy-handed block list, you come across situations like this, where ultimately, this is the real example of why moderation is difficult, right? You can't go too heavy-handed, you have to use multiple methods of identification, because sometimes you're really just creating more false positives than you ought to be needing to, right? You want to block things that are malicious, not something that isn't. And this is a good example of what can happen when over-moderation steps in. So there really isn't a good, solid response to any of this kind of shit. Now, to give an idea, is this actually doxing? Is this going to be doxing towards creators? To give you an understanding, I don't know if that's necessarily the case that we can go with. Just because, if I applied it to literally myself, me being pretty public, people know my first and last name pretty well at this point. So a bot using that against me really doesn't make any sense, right? Everybody knows that my channel name belongs to a guy known as Mutahar. So why would you even try to do this in the first place? Now, obviously, does this mean her theory doesn't make any sense? Maybe it isn't actually people trying to find private information. No, I think it's actually a pretty decent theory. And honestly, I really think a focus, if you're worried about yourself being doxxed, is that generally speaking, there are far worse and sinister ways to get your information out there. One of them chiefly being, data brokers. So for anybody that doesn't have any idea, this was talked about a couple of years ago by John Oliver, who discussed the idea of data brokers. And if I'm not mistaken, I think off the cuff, if I'm remembering wrong, please correct me. I believe it was actually him that kind of talked about the idea of getting Congress's information. And I think that really freaked the government out, at least into going, maybe we should open a dialogue on these data brokers and discuss how much information they're able to pull off. Now, according to, and this is Kaspersky, but yeah, data brokers are effectively companies and entire organizations whose entire job it is to scrape information and grab and build profiles and sell that information for profit, okay? So anytime you have an online footprint and, you wonder, how doxxed am I? Well, think about how much you post to the internet in general, right? Amongst your name and numerous, pen names you have on the internet, screen names or whatever. God, I feel old. But if you have multiple, things that you're posting, right, it takes these companies, time to basically grab all the shards of information you post, photographs, full names, addresses, stuff that might even be publicly available through the government at times, and amalgamate that into information that they sell for profit. And there's nothing that, goes against anybody from going to these same data brokers and just purchasing actual information for advertising purposes and pulling actual doxes on individuals. If you ever think your personal information or private information is safe, literally do not Google yourself. It is the worst, most anxiety-like tipping advice that anybody can tell you. Because yes, your information is out there more than you would care to know. And it's why a lot of services offer free dark web monitoring services, because literally, this information is grabbed and in certain cases is sold on the dark web for, a good chunk of change, provided how much information you have and how valid all that information can be. Yes, there are people that are willing to pay for it just so they can specifically target people for scams and spams and severely deceptive practices, which is something that YouTube's terms of service really ends up is being against. But when it comes to the comment section, I want to see just a bit more moderation put onto it. I've already talked about YouTube's shitty ad system and how many bad parties abuse it, but the amount of actual abuse going on in the comment section is very alarming, and it just keeps escalating day by day, year by year, proving that dead internet theory to be very true. Now, thankfully, there have been creators like Theo Joe, who has apparently made a YouTube spammer purge bot. Now, I'm not recommending you guys use this in any capacity, because it does give permissions, even if you can limit some of those permissions to your YouTube channel. And I don't actually know if this is entirely allowed by YouTube's own terms of service regarding third-party extensions, add-ons, or behaviors. But yes, Theo Joe developed a bot that actually is designed to help fight against comment spam on your actual system. My only thing by showing this is that if there is actually some proper solution that a YouTuber has made, maybe YouTube's like higher staff or their security or moderation team should reach out to Theo Joe and see what he's doing that's a little bit different than them, and see if there's not one way that these two teams can meet in the middle and actually provide a better, safer platform for all of us YouTubers and the people watching our content, okay? And that's one of the things I do strive for. Look, I'm not going to forever be uploading videos on YouTube, but I would like the platform to be better than when I started. And I think that's a noble goal that every YouTuber should actually stick with. So one of the things that is highly illegal in this situation, and one of the real things to watch out for, and it's been covered by me, by Moist Critical, by D'Angelo Wallace, by plenty of larger YouTubers, is something known as the CP spam bots on YouTube, which thankfully are being fought against, but it is an alarming bot that I think people need to really watch out for. See, on YouTube, there's plenty of channels that unfortunately share shit like this. I posted a preview of something known as Daisy's blah 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 on their page. And of course, they gave a full link in the description for their own channel service. So you have to go to their channel, you go to their description, and sometimes there could be a Discord page, which leads to an off-platform server where, unfortunately, illegal CP is advertised to be shared. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I don't know if there's anything illegal that is being shared on those Discord servers, because all I'm looking at is the advertising that's going. I have never seen an illegal piece of CP, nor will I ever want to, or will I, so I really can't confirm that what I'm being told here is actually 100% valid. It could just be, again, trolls that are advertising sharing real, known videos of child exploitation material. But it's one of those things where even if this is a modicum of real, right? Like if people are actually sharing it, because unfortunately, you know, people sharing illegal stuff on the internet is not uncommon. It's more common than you think. This should absolutely be targeted by YouTube, and it's not just targeted to be removed. If you ever see a comment like this, not only should you report it to YouTube, but you should report it at report.cybertip.org, directly to the NCMEC and even the FBI if you can. Because anybody that's willing to share illegal CSAM material like this, you know, there's probably a million more skeletons in their closet, none of them being good, that you should absolutely go for. And I think for YouTube, it's important to nip this problem in the ass before it escalates and gets even worse. I have seen this in my YouTube channel comments, and it's not something that I ever want to see again. And anytime I see it, it is genuinely some of the most disturbing and disgusting shit one has to... It actually is day-ruining stuff. Now, if you're worried about the internet, ladies and gentlemen, dying on you and basically causing you to be doxxed down the road, especially if you're an emerging YouTuber by these people in your comment section, I don't really think you should worry too terribly much. The method of attack they're using will probably require more server space on YouTube to run just in comment section alone before they ever drag an actual name hit. But I think it is an alarming trend, and I don't think the theory is necessarily too far off. If you do, however, feel that your information is at risk, or you are worried about being doxing, I do think it's still a good idea to put your sensitive information into a blocked words list on your YouTube comment section. Because ultimately, no matter what, that'll prevent anybody else on your channel from actually seeing it. The only scary part of it is if this is part of a bot network that is out there to dox users, nothing stops them from figuring out your information and posting it on your YouTube channel in strings that wouldn't be picked up by the YouTube moderation bot, at least without some tinkering. That is the only fearful part that I really see. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a weird set of new bot spam that's been going on, and honestly, if it's meant to dox the creators, then I really do think that YouTube should maybe assess that and start removing some of these accounts. Maybe another like sub purge or a YouTube purge should happen, at least at a larger scale, because it's only a problem that's getting bad. It's not getting better. It's just getting more problematic, right? Like the amount of bot activity that I'm seeing on YouTube is escalating year after year. And that's something I really hope the platform charges at. But yeah, good video by HE Modernism. Congratulations. It's a good theory. But yeah, why are these comment section spams happening? Why are these bots just putting in names and addresses? Hopefully it isn't too sinister, but it is somewhat sinister. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.